Welcome back. Wow, that kind of shocked me.
It's a great entrance. What's going on?
Welcome to another episode. Today is going to be a banger.
Today is going to be very fun. Lots to cover.
Yes, lots to cover. We've got 5 episodes. It is one of the longest arcs in the entire series. Obviously, we are talking about the Genosis arc. But let's get into it.
Let's do it.
You never would have made it as Obi-Wan's Padawan, but you might make it as mine.
Again, welcome back to the Podwans podcast.
Let's drop these boys in.
Luke, and I've got my co-host Charlie Johnson, CharCharJay.
Greetings, welcome in.
And recurring guest,
Hey.
Hereth Productions, who actually has his camera on this time.
Yay.
The HP.
Yay.
Yay.
Hereth, how's it going, dude?
It's going good. How about you?
I'm all right, dude. Obviously,
Ready?
if you look at my glasses, I'm a very excited man.
I could tell. I wonder what you're excited about, huh? I can't really tell.
Probably the Kenobi show, you know?
Yeah,
Oh,
definitely.
yeah, absolutely. And newcomer, first timer, Aidan talks Star Wars topics. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Welcome in, Aidan.
Doing great. Excited to be here. Let's do this.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna
I'm
be
glad
great.
that you're finally here. We've been talking on and off for a couple months now, and we've been waiting to have you on, and today's the day, so welcome in.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Thanks,
awesome.
guys. Appreciate it.
It's fun. It's fun.
I never thought this would come. Not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
So, everybody, as everybody knows, we do our rankings at the end. Padawan is meh. Jedi Knight is good. Jedi Master is great, and Grandmaster is Chef's Kiss. So, talking about the first episode. Season 2, Episode 4, Senate Spy. Char, take her
Senate
away.
Spy. All right. I got to do 5 of these now. This is going to be a pain in my behind, but it's going to be okay.
Yes.
I'm all for it. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Let's do it.
I don't think you're ready. All right. Let's see if this is this the one? Oh yeah, right here. Okay,
Start.
ready?
Take 2.
All
right, ready?
Go.
3, 2, 1. That was weird. Why did I count
Why
these
did
two
you
one like
why
that?
did you- why did you do the
32.
middle finger? What did-
Anyway, ready? Treachery in the Senate. Jedi Council suspects that Senator Rush Clovis is secretly taking part in a separatist conspiracy. But to find out what the senator from Scipio, I'm sorry, Scipio is up to, the council will need a spy of its own. Meanwhile, Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker has been away from Coruscant on a lengthy... oh my god, I have to do 4 of these. On a lengthy tour of duty leading the clone army. Now Anakin returns for a long-awaited reunion with his wife, Padme Amidala.
All right, so
Yeah, 4 out of 10.
Yeah, that was a little rough,
Yeah,
but
redemption.
you got
But it's
you've
okay.
you've got 4 more. So we start off. Anakin discreetly returns to Coruscant to Padme's apartment. He surprises her. They have a nice little back and forth, which again, with the hostage crisis arc, it really was really good to see the dynamic between Padme and Anakin in a different light than what we see in the prequels. That's something that I really enjoyed. And might I just say, Padme is the perfect choice, and I love that the council picked her, and she said no in the beginning, and then they were like, "Oh, Skywalker can get her to do it."
They know the truth.
It's just like they know. It's like they know. They just don't want to say anything about the relationship. They're just like, "Oh, we can get
They're like,
Skywalker to
"We'll
do it." There's no
They
way.
know the truth.
It's not the last time they'll ask something of Anakin. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
This is true. This is true. It won't be the last time. So obviously, so we get a shot of the council chamber. Yoda's talking about Clovis with Mace and Obi-Wan. And obviously they're talking about Clovis, all this and that, and then Mace Windu's like, summon Skywalker, and Obi-Wan's like, I've been trying to do that for hours now. Pan back to like Anakin and Padme, and they like try to get close, and then his wrist alarm goes off, and he's like, oh man, I've been dodging Obi-Wan for 7 clicks, which means 7 hours. What are you? Why didn't you just say? Come on, Obi-Wan. You got to be smarter than that. Come on.
He knew where Anakin was going. Come on.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He had to.
He just knows Anakin's up to his usual shenanigans. You know.
Oh yeah. Fooling around with the old senator, eh?
As he always does.
As he always does. So he also, another thing about the when he comes in, he nonchalantly says, "Oh, she's like, where's your transport, or where's your ship?" He's like, blew up." Just nonchalantly, like, it's gone. Like another day in the office, losing another ship. Who cares?
That's Anakin in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Like with his character in Clone Wars, is basically Anakin. He just treats his ships like garbage, but he's a great flyer.
Oh yeah, great pilot. Aidan?
One
The
thing
best
that's
island in the galaxy.
one thing that's interesting in the conversation between Anakin and Padme, it kind of calls back to the hostage crisis episode, but it's kind of a different dynamic now, because when Obi-Wan calls him while they're together, Anakin's like, duty should be first, especially in wartime. Whereas in the hostage crisis episode, nothing is more important to me than my love for you. Why don't you feel the same way? So it's interesting. Anakin is definitely a flip-flopper when it comes to these interactions with Padme, and it's very apparent to see this different take in this episode, which is cool to see.
Absolutely. That is like that's a great point, and we'll get into the toxicity of the relationship here in a little bit. We'll get a nice little scene between them two. So Anakin goes to the council. They are like, "Hey, Skywalker, get her to say yes. Get her to say yes." Just basically, they're like, "So she already turned us down, but we know you can do it, buddy. Come on." And Anakin goes, I don't think she's qualified. And he obviously is putting his own selfishness in the way so that that she doesn't end up with Clovis, or he's putting his jealousy ahead of everything else. And it's to do that. And so he's like, okay, fine, I'll go talk to her about it.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the next day, Anakin goes into the Senate building and he goes to talk to Padme, and Padme goes, "Oh, General Skywalker, it looks like you finally made time for me." And he whispers, he goes, "Are you still mad about last night?" Like every single couple has that night where the guy either screws up and the girl is upset about it the next morning and they don't let it go, which is happens. It happens to all of us. And like when I heard that, I was like, gosh, I've had that happen too many times. Anybody else get that like feeling of that vibe when that happened?
Way too many times for me, actually.
Yeah, way too many times.
Actually, it was one pretty recently with me.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I know how that feels. It's like
I don't know.
You
I
feel like
can't relate.
you're trapped in a glass box and you're just like, how do I get out of this?
I can't relate at all, but yeah.
So then we get those two talking. Another thing that I forgot to mention is that the Jedi Council knew more about Padme and Clovis's relationship than Anakin did. And
which I found it to be weird.
Yeah,
like, how do
I
they
did
know
too.
so much about him? Like even like his personal life.
I mean, they did their due diligence, that's for sure.
Damn right.
I guess the
They're
Jedi's
due
are just.
diligence.
I guess they're just good at doing research papers. I don't know.
I guess so too.
Or maybe the Jedi Council just looked at Wikipedia. Just looked at Rush Clovis.
They just pull up Wikipedia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So back to Anakin talking to Padme in the Senate. So they get like, how is there not a session of the Senate going on? Like, it's the whole place is empty. There's not one person in there. And those two are like, all right, let's take one of these shuttle things and like talk in the middle of the Senate room where there's nobody around, ironically. And they talk about how Anakin's like, you aren't going to do this, Michigan. I'm not going to let you. And she goes, excuse me? You're not going to let me? Like, I've done more dangerous things than this. Like, what are you talking about? And like, I loved that I love that dynamic. And it just goes to show you that Padme is a very strong-willed person, and I just love that.
And in that moment, she turns on Anakin's line about duty coming first, especially in wartime. So it was an even bigger slap in the face when he had his own point used against him in this instance for her to get her point across.
Yeah, and it does get across. That's absolutely true. Absolutely true. So Anakin's like, oh, now you're going to do it? Or I guess I'm going to have to just protect you. So she shows up to the council chamber with Anakin, and they start talking, and Yoda asks, Yoda has a weird, I can't remember exactly what he says, but like, it was like, Anakin's like, how close were you guys? And she's like, I don't know, close, I guess. But like, it's so weird. It's so weird how the Jedi can use their senses to see that Clovis is a traitor, but they like can't sense that there's a relationship between Padme and Anakin, or they just don't accept it.
One of my favorite memes around the Clone Wars is, I don't know if you've seen the Office meme where it's like Michael Scott and he's like, if I had a bullet and I've had 2 bullets and a gun, and he goes, Anakin's like, I would just shoot Clovis twice.
Yeah, I'd shoot Toby twice. I'd shoot Toby twice.
No, I'd shoot Clovis twice. He's like, I'll shoot Clovis twice.
No, yeah, absolutely. So she says that she's going to do anything for the Republic, like she's down for it. And so we see Clovis, our first introduction to Clovis, and let me tell you, he just screams slime ball. Just not good guy vibes. Not good guy vibes at all. So they have a nice little dinner. He tells her about Cato Nemoidia, which we're going to learn more about in the Brotherhood book, which if you don't pre-order it because it's going to be so awesome. Anyway. And like, it's so funny throughout this episode, like Clovis tries to get close, and like it's either Anakin or Padme herself that just like friend zones the shit out of him. And I'm just like, dude, you can't win. You're never going to win because you're competing against a Jedi Knight who is notorious, like, being the most badass Jedi in the entire galaxy. Like, there's not much you can, like, compete with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it's so weird. What did you guys get from all the interaction between Clovis and Padme?
Had me feeling really weird. It's like,
yeah,
they had a pass, and it sounded like they were very mutual, and they were friends. And then, like, as time goes on, you see Clovis just get, it's like, this is not the past, Clovis. You can move on from this. But
he just loves to turn it on.
Yeah, it's he just decides to do what he thinks is right in his eyes, but in some person's eyes, particularly Anakin, it's different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Aidan, what are your thoughts?
I mean, all the scenes and the interactions between Padme and Clovis really reinforce the point as to why she's the perfect choice. Because in the exact moment she's like, oh, I want to reestablish our friendship again, Clovis is like, all right, yeah, you know what? I'm going to Cato Moidia. Why don't you come with me so we can restart our friendship? So all the puzzle pieces fit perfectly into the spy scheme that the Jedi Council was inducing in this moment, which was it couldn't have worked better than it did. It was the perfect circumstances.
Yeah. It's like this episode. Like this episode is just like seeing what Padme could have been with, and it's like you got a toxic boyfriend that's just like, or husband that's like, no, you don't get to do this, that, this, and that, and then you just have the friend zone.
I was suddenly pointing at my Thrawn alliances, like that's what I was jokingly doing.
Yeah. And it's just like, what in the world are we doing? So Anakin ends up becoming a pilot. He's incognito as a pilot, and like, so Clovis tries to sit in the seat next to Padme, and Anakin can see it on the screen, and he just like jolts, and Clovis just is like, God darn it. And I'm just like, I look at that and I go, that good call, because she was about to get like not appropriate at all. Yeah. That's why I think he's a slime ball. He's a slime ball for sure.
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to like use my knowledge of later seasons, but like I can't stop thinking of Lost Missions episodes as Clovis.
Oh God, that's even
all,
worse.
That's what I'm flashing in my mind right now.
Oh my God. So they make it to Cato Nemoidia. Clovis meets with the senator from the Trade Federation, and they are talking, and then they go to the back room, and God, that guy is the worst. I can't think of his name. What is the Trade Federation senator's name?
Lockdodd.
Yeah, Lockdodd. Worst senator ever. So he, Clovis, and Poggle, all of a sudden, Poggle shows up out of nowhere. It's just like, all of a sudden, he's like, I agree, Lord Poggle. And you just see Poggle come out of frame. It's like, where the hell were you the entire time?
Probably
What
hiding.
is this? Oh, yeah. It's just like, what in the world's going on?
Them wild Genosians.
Oh, yeah.
He was probably having a comedy night.
Probably.
Maybe he just want to have a little chit chat with his good old buddy Dodd.
Not Lockdodd. And Clovis, you get to hear the in between saying that it's going to be the largest factory ever seen in the entire galaxy, which is kind of interesting. Because I mean, the droid factory that they had previously there in episode 2 was pretty large, so take that times 1,000, I guess. I can't remember how is it because Padme walks into the area, right? And they all have to hide besides Clovis.
Yeah, Poggle hides, and then they turn off the hologram, and she's like, "Oh, I was looking for you, Clovis."
Okay, yeah, that's right.
Padme is so subtle.
Oh yeah, so subtle. He takes her on a tour. There's like a little backdrop where you can see the overlining city. And like, I thought that shot of them eating dinner at night with like the city behind it was a great shot. So then after dinner, no, not after dinner. So before dinner, I'm jumping around. I'm sorry. So she comes down. She's looking pretty good. In one of the only like non-episode 3, like, hey, copy paste animation costumes that she has. She comes down, and she, like, Lockdodd puts like poison on the cup, and she drinks it. Flash forward to the dinner, she starts getting a little wobbly, right? But she just thinks it's like she's fatigued or whatever. So then Clovis takes her back to the place where she was earlier, where the plans are, and she fakes like she's a great spy, by the way. Like she can do anything. She plays off like, oh, I need a drink of water, and Clovis being that friend zone. Oh, okay, I'll go get it. I'll go get it for you. I'll go get it for you.
If I were to compare Padme and Clovis, Padme is like, do you guys are familiar with Brock from the Pokemon series?
Yeah.
And how every single time he's in a movie
Brock
or an
and
episode, he
Misty.
always simps for a girl.
Yeah.
That is Clovis here. Like it's honestly it's very similar to what Brock does in Pokemon. He's like, I'll get you some punch.
Yeah. I'll go get you some punch.
The lady wants punch.
Yeah, dude, that is very much like Clovis.
And
Aidan, anything?
Padme's like, I was so lonely and I wanted you. Like, it's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to make him
Perfect.
reveal his plans.
Yeah, Aidan, what do you got anything on that?
Clovis is a creeper, man. I mean, that
He is
sums it up pretty much.
Except he does not explode when you get into close range.
That is correct, Char. That is correct.
Yeah.
I would like to say that Clovis is a capital S simp lord.
Yeah.
Is he simp as in like girl simp, or is he simp like Phineas and Ferb simp? You know, squirrels in my pants.
I see what you're throwing down.
Oh my god.
Remember that episode? Come on.
So, dear Lord. So she ends up hugging. She ends up going to the hologram, puts in all of these passwords, and then says, "Padme," even more creepy.
Red
and
flag.
She's like, "Oh, okay."
Red flag.
Yeah, red flag. My alarms would be going off for sure. So she gets the disc. Anakin goes searching for her, finds her in there. Her and Clovis are hugging, but she does behind his back, like, I'm gonna drop this. She drops it. Anakin uses the Force, gets it back to R2. Padme passes out because she's been poisoned. Clovis goes and talks to Lock Dodd, threatens to use the banking clan to shut down everything if she doesn't get the cure. He then Lock Dodd tells him that Padme is a spy. Clovis doesn't believe it. Goes back, sees the thing's gone, accuses her. Anakin comes in like, "Don't you touch her!" Basically, like, I'm gonna queue up if you even take a step towards her. And like, I was just like, this episode, this arc is great. This episode is one of the weakest ones, in my opinion.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not the best we've seen. The episode with Clovis and Padme. It's not the best. It's a good startup, but it doesn't really establish much.
It's an introduction to their story. Like
all it does is just tells us that Rush, Clovis, and Padme had a relationship, and Rush is that type of guy where it's like, I know we had a past, but I still got feelings for you.
Oh god.
Yeah, this episode,
If I can get you a glass of Jawa juice, I can.
Oh god. That's so bad.
Yeah, this episode is just a stepping stone for the larger aspects of the arc.
Oh,
For sure.
Yes. So Anakin, R2, and Padme all escape. I love how Clovis is like, "Give me the disc. I gave you the cure," and he's like, maybe next time, Clovis." Anakin gets the like little one.
I trust in your survival skills, Clovis.
Yeah, I love that
Yes.
response. That's such an Anakin-esque response.
It is
Where it's like,
very much.
I
so.
would, but
I think you're gonna do just.
I gotta
fine.
take this back.
I
to
believe in
Coruscant.
you.
He doesn't care. Who
Yeah.
cares?
So basically, with that's the episode.
And that's also why we felt so happy when he said that, because we see Clovis as this dude that's just trying to slide into Padme's DMs,
Oh,
and we don't care about him. And he's working for the Separatists, so we're just like, get out of here, shoo,
he's a slamo. He's
die with the
a
rest.
slamo. So that is going to be it for that episode for Senate Spy. Char, episode 5, landing at Point Rain.
Okay. All right, let's do this. Hopefully this time it'll be better. All right. Okay. All right. This is how you properly count down from 3. 3, 2, 1. Counterattack! With the clone army stretched into I'll start from the beginning. Counterattack! With the clone army stretched in desperate attempt to engage General Grievous's Starfleet, Separatist planets that were once thought secure are now rising up against the Republic. On Genosis, Separatist leader Pago the Lesser, safe in his newly ray-shielded factories, created thousands of terrible new weapons which march off the assembly line against the outnumbered clone army. I got more to go. The Jedi, resolute in their effort to restore order to the Republic, mount a massive invasion to retake Genosis and shut down Pago's factories of terror once and for all.
And let me just start off. This episode, that was great. This episode is one of my favorite standalone episodes. Like it's like for the arc, this arc is one of my favorites. This episode in particular is awesome because it shows like what actually it looks like on the battlefield. And that's what we get a lot of that from time to time, but like I feel like that's where the show really thrives is like moments like these. You know what I mean?
Heavily inspired by World War II films, especially during the
in the quote at the beginning of the episode too, it's probably my favorite quote in any Clone Wars episode, and it's very basic, but it says a lot. It just says, "Believe in yourself, or no one else will." It's a simple, moral that you should have. Where if you don't trust yourself, you shouldn't trust anyone else. You have to love yourself in order to love others, and I take that to heart. So
it's a good lesson to keep.
For sure.
So we start off with Obi-Wan and Kyani Mundi talking on the. Okay, so they're not Venators. What are they? The
Acclimators.
Yeah.
Acclimators. Okay. And you only see them in the first 2 seasons of the Clone Wars. Right?
There is one in the intro sequence for the Umbara arc.
Is there really?
Yeah. It's landing on Umbara, I'm pretty sure, or it's heading towards it. But
yeah, it's
that's season 4.
Yeah, it's in the big. Yeah, you're right. It's in the big opening sequence when they're trying to drop down.
Yeah, and I think oddly enough, they actually are on a Venator when the episode starts, and they have the briefing with, the Outer Rim Command, but then they all transfer to Acclimators with their respective battalions.
Yeah, they do. They do start out on a Venator, and then afterwards, when they have their meeting with Luminara, Windu, Yoda, Palpatine, then that's when they all they all hop off ship.
Acclimator. So you think after the first Battle of Geonosis, the Republic would have been like, "Hey, let's leave a garrison here. Like, let's not let them take this over again."
They definitely did. Yeah.
It's just like, man, we really screwed up here. It's like, this is the home world of the trade, not the Trade Federation, but like the Geonosians, who are a big factor into like building for the Trade Federation and the Separatist Alliance. Like, come on, there would have had to have been somebody there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, I think, not to jump ahead too much in the arc, but we do kind of get an answer as to why the garrison went quiet on Geonosis after the first battle.
This is very true. That does make sense. That does make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. I love how Obi-Wan and Cody's banter. That's what I
Yes.
love before this. When
Yeah.
when Cody was saying, "Oh no, I wasn't there on the first battle of Genosis," and then Obi-Wan was like, "Well, you didn't miss much. I was chained to a pole and was attacked by humongous
Giant
monsters, and and then Cody's like, that sounds entertaining, and then Obi-Wan's like, it was for the Geonosians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, when Kyani and Obi-Wan are talking, Anakin and Ahsoka show up, and Anakin are having a competition of war, which I don't know if they tried to do a callback, but I definitely got Legolas Gimli vibes from Two
Yes.
Towers.
Yeah.
So they make a bet. It's not really bet. They just keep tabs of how many droids they've destroyed, and I think that's very. It calls back to that in my mind, and then it also has like it comes back in the episode as well. So I thought that was interesting.
Well, I was gonna say, well, it does track for Dave Filoni because Dave Filoni is a huge Lord of the Rings
Rings fan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so it
that's
does
right.
track for him.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So we go back to the when they're meeting with Windu and Yoda and everybody else. Ahsoka talks about the gun placements, and Anakin states, "We won't have to worry about that. That's way out of the way."
Never say never.
Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing. Hit me in the face as hard as you can. I just found that funny because of what they have to deal with there. And let me tell you, they severely overestimate or underestimate the Geonosians.
Oh yeah,
For sure.
and
Like-
Palpatine's even like, oh, devoting 3 generals to one spot seems kind of dangerous. And then off screen, he's like, yeah, can we move all military assets to where they're gonna land and then just blow them up?
Yeah. Can we make it not so easy? Like Palpatine's like, good, go to that landing point. Good.
Like, if it wasn't for Palpatine, well, I mean, this war wouldn't happen, but if it wasn't for Palpatine, do you realize how easy the Republic would win wars?
Yeah.
The Clone Wars would have ended years ago.
I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
know. I think the Separatists may have won the war, honestly.
I mean, they did have more numbers.
They did, but we had Captain Rex.
who's more who's worth more than 1,000 droids. So
And
like
the Bad Batch.
yeah, let's come on now. So like Char was saying, Cody states that he wasn't part of the first battle, which debunks a lot of theories. Back in when Revenge of the Sith came out, they're like, oh, so Cody was the commander that Yoda was talking to in Attack of the Clones.
No, that was Pons. Then
Yeah,
there's a
that's
lot of
Pons.
theories that clones throughout the trilogies. Like everyone thinks that Rex was at the first battle of Geonosis, where he even said that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
At least I didn't think he said, but I know for a fact that Rex. Wait, was Rex there?
I don't think he was.
I don't think
Or
he
maybe
was
I'm just
either.
talking stupid.
I think like the only reference we have as to what all the battles he served in, which is in the Rebels episode in season 2, he's like, oh yeah, I served with Ahsoka from the Battle of Christophsis to the Siege of Mandalore.
Yeah, but Ahsoka wasn't there on Geonosis.
Right, exactly. So it's an incomplete list of all the
Where the
battles. he was
first
Yeah,
six
involved in.
months
yeah,
was-
he says that from the time that he served with Ahsoka, not with the
Yeah, right.
Republic. So it's
Right.
like,
I just got. Oh, dude, what if we get the introduction of Rex for the first time in Brotherhood?
That's what I was thinking.
Oh, Rex is his first introduction in canon will be in the Brotherhood arc, or not the Brotherhood book.
Oh,
or we
Kid
see his
of
first
America.
live action appearance, well, with Tamara Morrison on Book of Boba Fett.
Is he like? I think he's dead by that point, honestly, because Rex is like aging.
But we don't know
Well-
what kind of stuff is going on. We don't know like the genetics of clones. We don't know how old they can last. Like,
Well,
there's a
yeah,
lot of whole
like
things.
Rex was still alive in 4 ABY. It's 5 years later. I don't think 5 years will be that damaging to a clone's lifespan.
No,
but he's
yeah.
gonna be a fossil.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
will be.
But He won't be dead, at least I think.
Yeah. So they get in the gunships, which, by the way, the gunships are the best ships. You cannot argue with me.
Those are
The
cool.
the sound of them, like the look, just the look of them. It's so like nice to look at.
And a fun little thing about Obi-Wan's gunship specifically, the art on the nose of the gunship is actually a Nexu, which is one of the creatures present in the Genosis arena while
big
he
cat.
was captured in episode 2. So I thought that was a cool.
Oh yeah,
include.
I was just looking back on it. I was looking on it on my phone. That's actually true. There's a Nexu on the ship. Hold on, let me.
I think it would have been
pause.
a nicer reference if it was an Acklay on the front of it, because that was the creature he fought specifically. But it's a cool callback
For sure.
nonetheless.
Yeah, right there. I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, it's right there.
Wow.
That's cool. I never noticed that.
Yeah. So that is awesome. Like they didn't learn the first time that the Geonosians were like hard to kill.
Yeah.
They're pretty formidable. I mean, look at Attack of the Clones. They get shot down so easily in that movie, in that second half of the Geonosis, when they get in the gunships. It's like, okay, so round 2. We're gonna do the exact same thing. We're gonna hope that we don't all get shot down.
We're just gonna go in a straight line, straight up.
Yeah, straight line. We're not gonna try to jig-jag or avoid anything.
Well, and this time the Geonosians were prepared for a fight, whereas they had the resources at their disposal during the first battle of Geonosis, but the Republic kind of showed up out of nowhere. So
That's
the
true.
element of surprise is no longer a factor, and they have their defenses prepped and they're ready for a fight.
That's true. That's very true.
And I love their weaponry. Their guns sound so cool.
The sonic blasters.
Yeah.
I remember playing the OG Battlefront.
Yeah,
and hearing that sound in the big turrets and the Geonosian weapons. Oh my god, the sound of it! It just screams prequel Star Wars.
Oh my god, it's awesome.
So good.
So we get the I can't remember which. So the gunship is Obi-Wan's like I can't remember it. What they were saying. Anybody got anything to add through the commentary?
Not so much for Obi-Wan, but Kyani Mundi is getting on his gunship, and Admiral Yarn's like, "Oh, good luck, General." And Kyani Mundi's like, "There's no such thing as luck." And then he goes off in his gunship. And...
Oh yeah, that's the
Yeah.
biggest clip where people hold against Kyani Mundi. We're just like, there's no such thing as luck. And he's like, maybe we'll need a little bit of luck at our side. I'm like,
Yeah,
come on, dude.
Yeah. Kyani Mundi is the
hypocritical of
worst.
him. Yeah,
Kyani Mundi is the worst, and there's no way you can tell me any different. Just saying.
Like Element said on They Fly Now. Like if they just killed Kyani Mundi earlier in the Clone Wars, I don't think the Jedi would have that much problems.
No, yeah, he is the root of all the issues that like are wrong with the Jedi at that point. But we do get a shot of a clone stating, "Good thing they can't aim," and then his gunship immediately gets destroyed. Like, God, you gotta have.
I feel Star Wars has a tendency to implement a lot of irony with their with their content. Not even just like old Clone Wars, like even in the not the Bad Batch. I'm pretty sure there was some scenes in the Bad Batch, but in the Mandalorian, with Cara Dune, where she's like, "Oh, great, 1 X-wing, we're saved." I'm like, oh yeah, is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just this whole sequence where they're going in to land at Point Rain is so cool. Especially like the different shots we get. Like we even get like a slightly first person view out of one of the bubble turrets, which we haven't seen the bubble turrets since episode 2. They aren't like a standard attachment to the gunships, or like the floodlights as well. They're an attachment.
Right. Yeah.
And like it reminds me of like from World War II, like the B-17 Flying Fortress and the turrets that they had, which were more of like a semicircle, but it's the same concept and same idea. Especially, George is calling back to probably World War II films he grew up on, which was really cool to see in the sequence.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like that's crazy. I always knew that was like a big thing, but like all three of them don't make it to the point, except for Obi-Wan's the only one that makes it to the landing point, but he lands in front of the landing point.
Yeah.
He overshoots it. Cody is the only one that makes it to Point Rain. He's the only person to make it there. He's like, Cody, get the tanks down. Get the tanks down. And he's like, all right, well, let's get the tanks down.
Pilot, begin landing sequence.
Yep. Pilot, begin landing sequence.
Have fun down there, boys.
Yeah. And as the other pilot takes off, he's like, yeah, these poor bastards. This isn't gonna be good.
You know, another detail that I like about this entire arc is that another thing the Republic learned from the first Battle of Geonosis and having to return again, they actually have stylized their armor to provide some camouflage.
Yeah.
Not for the 501st, unfortunately, because they're just stuck with the white Phase 1 armor. But the Kyani Mundi's battalion gets the brown and yellow Special Operations clone armor.
Yes.
And then the 212th gets the digital desert camo armor in the ARF Trooper armor, not just regular Phase 1 clone trooper armor, which is really cool to see.
So that's just the armor that they have. It's just a different type of it, because it looks like the same design that they had in the Trespass episode, right? Where they look like snowtroopers a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for the Kyani Mundi guys, they and even that type of clone showed up actually in the Cat and Mouse episode, with a gray and black coloration on the Corvette that was used to take down Admiral Trench.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It's just
So it's another cool callback to see that they're using different types of armor, especially like the special operations and the ARF Trooper armor.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Yeah, that's exactly what the 41st did. Like with their forest looking color on Kashyyyk, and yeah, they should have done it more. Like, I feel like the 501st would have been much more effective if they camouflaged themselves with the terrain that they're fighting on.
oh for
And
sure.
it would have changed the outcome of some battles, hopefully. But I don't know why, where there could be bright white uniforms in a sandy, dusty
the
atmosphere.
41st Elite Corps and the 501st definitely got done dirty in the second Battle of Geonosis in terms of camouflage.
Sure.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
It might have been like, we don't have enough armor to supply, so we're just gonna choose these two battalions to give the armor
come on, Republic. Have you ever heard of ghillie suits?
Yeah.
Anyway.
So Anakin and Ahsoka obviously land far north or south. I can't remember.
I think it's north.
Isn't it like
north?
Because Obi-Wan's south and Anakin and Ahsoka are north.
Yeah, but they
Their way
eventually
back.
kind of end up east, because that's where the wall with the gun emplacements is.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like they go north and they go east and they go back south.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird path.
So we get them. Anakin's worried. Obviously, he's trying to get reinforcements from Obi-Wan. Obviously, he's not getting them, and he says, "The one time I need Obi-Wan, and he's not able to help me." And it was just so ironic. So then he started giving orders to Rex, and then Ahsoka starts worrying about Obi-Wan. And Anakin does a great job of getting her mind back into the battle where her needs to be. He's I'm worried too, but like we can't do anything unless we can help, unless we can get to him. So we gotta focus.
This scene ties directly to the quote at the beginning of the episode. We have to take care of ourselves if we want to help Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
You have to,
believe in ourselves.
Yeah, believe in ourselves, and then we can have others believe in us.
So we head back to Commander Cody's part of the battle, and Waxer and Boyle, my
Let's
boys.
go.
Waxer and Boyle in the Scout Trooper armor. Legit. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, Waxer has his Numa decal on his helmet, which is really
Yes.
cool.
Yes. So they show up. They go out and try to get to Obi-Wan's down gunship. Is it Waxer or is it Boyle? I can't remember which one says it. He goes, "Why do we get all the fun missions?"
It's
And
definitely
then-
Boyle because
Boyle.
that's
Boyle.
the personality he has. He's
Yeah,
like,
Boyle.
"Oh."
Boyle's like, "Why do we get all the fun missions?" And Waxer's like, "That's not the fun part. Getting back is the fun part." And I'm like, yes, these two are in my top 5 for like clone wise. Like it goes Rex, Cody, then Gregor, then Hunter in the Bad Batch for clones for me. But Hauser's also up there too.
Commander Hauser is so good.
Commander
It's
Hauser.
tough. It's tough. Yeah.
But so they end up rescuing Obi-Wan, getting him back to the square, which I mean Waxer and Boyle are just built different, man. They're just built different. So like it's kind of not really a question. I know the answer to it anyway, but it's like I wonder, like the Republic's got to be like, how did they know we were coming? A, B, where the hell did they get all this shit from? And it's just like, huh? I wonder. Like being an audience member and watching the show, sometimes you're just like, gosh, it's just so ridiculous. Then we see Kyani Mundi also coming across, and he's like, the first shot you see of him, he's like got his lightsaber and cutting through a barrier. I don't know what those things are, but those are massive.
Yeah.
Anybody got any insight on those?
I'm pretty sure I may be wrong about this, but since the Genosians learned from the first Battle of Genosis that the Republic utilizes walkers as their armored support, I think those are like a derivation on I forget, but like on the assault on Normandy, they had like these shape things.
Yes,
That would
the
block
X things.
the tanks, like the exit things, and they would block the tanks and armor from rolling up the beach. So I think they just constructed those to prevent the tanks from being able to take that route and probably force them into a bottleneck to take them out.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Char, what'd you say? Oh no. Oh no, we got Robo Char.
Robo Char. Oh no. Is it worse than Robo Carter?
I don't know. It might have been.
You guys hear me? Am I good?
You're good.
There
Yeah,
you
you're
go.
good.
Okay,
Good.
what I was saying was, is it just essentially a roadblock?
Yeah,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Basically.
Which I have no idea what exactly they are in the ground, but Kyani Mundi was able to cut them down pretty easily. So.
So obviously Kyani Mundi gets an update. What's the commander's name again?
Clone Commander Jet.
Mhm.
Jet gets an update on all the battlefronts, and he looks up and he sees a cave, and he's like, we gotta go through there. Like, I think that's the best way to go. It's like, okay, but what are we gonna do with the tanks? We can't just like leave them here. Like, what? Like, I don't understand. Did they just like walk all the way across to the other side, or did they get picked up?
I'm pretty sure Kyani Mundi was like, leave some men to watch the tanks, and then we'll go this way.
Yeah.
To
Okay,
meet
so
up with
then
Skywalker.
So then they got. I'm assuming the LA. It's a different type of gunship. It's one that picks them up. It's a different call sign or whatever. I can't remember what they're called, but those are used to pick up the ATTEs for sure.
Yeah. Or I think they just might be left there. I don't remember.
No, yeah. So Kyani Mundi and his forces go in, and they're like, "Oh, the cave. This will be great. This will be great."
Yeah,
All
they're
of a sudden they get
pause. They're called LAATCs. It's the exact
LA
same
okay.
exact
Yeah,
same as
yeah.
LAAT, like low altitude assault transport, but it's just
Carrier.
/C
Slash
carrier.
C.
Yeah,
Carrier,
that's
yeah.
it.
Okay, I thought so. So Kyani Mundi's like, oh, okay, let's get some light in here. Turns on his lightsaber. All of a sudden, these Geonosians start attacking. And honestly, I wish we would have had this episode for Halloween, because in that scene is terrifying.
Oh,
Absolutely
And-
terrifying.
Yeah, and there's the clone with the backpack and the like little tracker thing that detects fluctuations in the air pressure due to
Oh, yeah, that's
fluttering
right.
wings. And that's kind of a callback. Well, it's kind of a reference to the Alien franchise, where
Ooh.
with the trackers that they used in Aliens, the second film. So, which there are a lot more alien references in this arc moving forward, which is really
Oh,
cool
yeah.
to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So they end up getting, like, you see like a clone get picked up. It's like, ah, and I was like,
multiple.
oh, good
Yeah.
Lord.
Those guys
That's
are dinner. Those guys are dinner for sure.
Terrifying. Yeah, pretty much. So then I think we go back to Anakin and Ahsoka, correct?
And they
Oh.
show up at the
wall.
Yeah, with all the gun emplacements.
And Ahsoka goes, I thought you said that we weren't gonna come this way. And he's like, well, things change.
Anakin classic improvisation plans.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He's always flying by the edge of his seat every single time.
I put this in when I was watching it last week. I was like, the Republic forces on every single battle are getting their asses handed to them. Just getting destroyed.
Yeah, I think in the exchange alone between Anakin and Ahsoka, like 3 clones get shot down.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like they
By
show
the
up to the
turrets.
wall and the turrets start shooting, and you just see like 2 just get
Downed
get
immediately.
sniped. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God. So Anakin and Ahsoka are bound determined to get to the top of the wall. They end up making it, and I don't remember how Rex gets up there.
It's not explained, but I would assume he used a grapple attachment
Grapple-
Yeah.
for
Okay,
his
that's
pistols.
right.
Just goes,
So
bah, to the Droideca's head.
yes,
Damn.
Which that concept of walking through the shield actually shows up in another season, and it's kind of a
yes,
it shows up in the Onderon arc. Not to get too off topic, but
no, yeah,
Wait, but with the thermal detonator
yeah,
and
it's
the
cool to see
yeah.
that callback because it makes sense that Rex would know that because he's done it personally. So that's why he passes on that tactic to take out droidicas, which is cool to see by
Oh, yeah.
staying stationary to pass through the
Absolutely.
droideca shield.
and you get to see another scene of a droid being funny.
Mhm.
Oh, I think they're all gone. Catch this. No, and then it blows up, and it's like time to go. The 2
Up
Jedi
and away,
jump.
Rex.
Yeah. They get Rex, and then they jump, and then they land. They're like catching him, and then it's like
Next
he's like,
time, just tell me to jump.
yeah, next time just tell me to jump.
I love the
And-
shot of Rex falling and he like it's like the camera's like and he like
Yeah.
Yeah, some of the
so-
dialogue between the B1 droids in some of these episodes just makes the episode so much more enjoyable. Whether
yeah,
it's a really hard
absolutely.
episode to watch or it's the best episode in the entire show,
Yeah.
if there's some funny banter between battle droids, it just it makes it that much better.
for
Oh
sure.
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
absolutely.
definitely.
So we finally get air support. Anakin gets Yularen. Yularen's able to finally get them air support. And like honestly, to hear the guy say, "Reinforcements have arrived," I'm like
Yeah.
punch in the air. I'm like, yeah, we finally did it. Wow.
They're like those rebels on Hoth when they hear the
Yeah.
first transport is away. They're like,
Yeah,
ah!
yeah, it's like we finally did it.
I like the fact that the whole exchange between Yularen and whoever was trying to get air support at the time or trying to find someone on the planet. It gives you a lens on the scale of a planetary invasion and how much
Yeah.
it's different than just like invading a country or a city
country.
or something like that. It's a
Mhm.
whole planetary invasion. So you have a whole Republic fleet's worth of, assets trying to take over a single planet, being diverted to like the northern hemisphere or the southern hemisphere or the Eastern or Western, whatever it may be. So it gives you a respect for the scale of the war in Star Wars,
Yeah.
which I think
Oh,
is
yeah.
cool.
Absolutely. Hereth, got anything to add on that? Like that?
No,
the part?
Aiden perfectly hit it. Like, yeah, I never thought, like, again, with Star Wars, you don't really see whole planet invasions where they try to take over the entire planet. So that's kind of cool. But this is the first time we see it in a Clone Wars arc.
Yeah. And I think they had a lot of inspiration for the Umbara arc from this arc. Because it's very, very similar in that way, where they're fighting the inhabitants, not just droids. They're fighting actual life forces, which makes it interesting from the Jedi point of view. Like, it was easy for them to get in and fight droids, but now they're fighting the locals.
Yeah,
They didn't have a problem cutting down all those Geonosians, though.
No,
Especially Anakin.
Not at all. It's because they're legions.
They're like, you guys killed like 1,000 of us in the first battle of Genosis. Like, it's payback time.
Yeah.
So we get Anakin, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, and Kyani Mundi all in one place as they're getting on the gunship. Ahsoka asks what their total was, and he said 63. Anakin said 63.
Yeah. And Ahsoka's like 68, and then Kyani Mundi's like 72.
No,
I thought
Ahsoka
he
said 25.
Oh, 25.
Ahsoka said 25.
No, so I think Ahsoka said, I'm pretty okay. So I think Anakin said like 58.
Yes.
Ahsoka says like 60, and then he's like, "Oh, but I called in the airstrike, so we tie." And then Kyani Mundi's like, "Oh, my count is 65, Skywalker. What do I win?" Like, "Oh, my eternal respect, Master."
My undying respect.
Yeah, my undying respect. And,
and like Kyani Mundi's like, "Oh," like,
and Obi-Wan's like, "Hey, man, like that's an honor he rarely bestows on anyone, so you should be grateful for that."
Yeah, so like this episode, it was my favorite of the arc. Like, the completely of this arc. But thoughts
what
on
it
this
establishes is that we hate Kyani Mundi.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah. It's really the beginning of the end for Kyani Mundi for sure.
And Genosis is such a vital part of the prequel trilogy, and we get to see the second time we go there. It's much different of how the Geonosians planned the attack.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything that goes afterwards from these next 3 episodes we're going to be covering.
Oh, it's so
Genosis is very, very important.
Interesting. It's a very interesting and important planet.
I also just love the design of Geonosian architecture.
Oh my god, it's so cool.
They're master like rock workers or whatever you want to call them, because in the next episode we're going to discuss, like, the bridge leading to the factory, like the sides of it are ornately crafted with specific details, but underneath it it's like uneven and whatnot. And it's kind of interesting that for the Geonosians, they want to kind of show off this pleasant exterior, this pleasant architecture, while having dubious interactions and having a morally bad in the eyes of the Republic and Jedi, like a morally bad association with the Separatists. So it's kind of interesting to see all those different aspects of their culture and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. On to the next episode. We are chugging through
Weapons Factory.
All right.
I already got it ready to go.
Take it away.
Let's do it.
Look at that. Like that. All right, ready. 3, 2, 1. The final surge. Having learned of Warlord Paco the Lesser's plot to rebuild a separatist droid foundry on Geonosis, Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker and his Padawan Ahsoka Tano prepare to assault this heavily fortified installation. Their mission: destroy the factory at all costs. Anticipating stiff resistance, Republic commanders sent Jedi Master Luminara Unduli and her Padawan Barriss Offee to reinforce the attack. but time runs short for our intrepid heroes as the dreaded droid mill nears completion. That was okay.
That was
I read
great.
that pretty
That
good.
was good.
I'm proud
That
of
was
that.
really
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I
Good
saw you,
job.
Aidan. Clap for me.
Yeah,
Look at that.
good job,
Look
man.
at that.
Get
Anyway,
a golf clap.
So
all
we
backwards
start
clap.
off. So we start off the episode with Anakin and Ahsoka. Ahsoka trying to give the plan, and she's getting halfway through, and Anakin jumps in. And this is where the start of the conflict happens. She goes, "You never let me do anything. Like, how am I supposed to learn if you're not going to let me do anything?" He's like, "Well, it's not safe." Like, he's trying to be the master and like trying to protect her and whatnot. And like, this arc, I mean, this episode really shows like Ahsoka's growth, and really goes to show Anakin of what she can do. This is also the first introduction to Barriss Offee.
Yep.
It actually is her second appearance because technically she was in Attack of the Clones.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. hmm
So she's been on the planet before. So this is interesting. Like her being able to put in yeah, I know. I saw that. So gosh darn it, now I got all
Stay on target. Stay on target.
We got two more episodes left. So it's like between Anakin and Ahsoka is very much different than Luminara and Barriss.
Oh, it's so different.
Yeah.
And I feel like this episode alone is what establishes why some people don't really like Luminara. Because it just shows how, because Anakin tries to rationally give Ahsoka some guidance.
Yeah.
And while Luminara is kind of robotic towards Barriss, and Barriss is like, well, I read my books for the day, and I studied, and I drank my orange juice, and I am ready to fight. Like, but Ahsoka and Anakin are just like, all right, let's just do this thing, listen to my guidance, and let's do this.
It's
We're gonna figure this out.
It's the traditional Jedi relationship versus Anakin and Ahsoka.
The like the brother sister,
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
A lot more connection on a personal level between Anakin and Ahsoka in comparison to Luminara and Barriss. It's more of a master and learner relationship where Barriss has things that are expected of her, and Luminara is basically there to teach her, and that's about it.
and Luminara's teachings obviously further on what we see in season 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just Barriss is, I don't know. I feel like Luminara gets a lot of hate because of the way she instructs Barriss.
Yeah.
And it starts from right here.
Absolutely.
I mean, she had her memorize an entire tunnel system that was hundreds of different paths in probably a short amount of time. So it just probably wasn't the best idea. But
Luminara is the type that will just give you a shit ton of homework and tell you to deal with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh yeah, your final project that I just assigned your topic to? Yeah, it's due on Friday. Good luck.
Yeah, Luminara, she just hands you a book report. Trust your instincts.
Pretty much.
10 pages by tomorrow, please. Thank you.
And then she gives you like a C for it because she like nitpicks the hell out of your paper. It's like, there's a lot of grammatical errors.
Your words are not that convincing.
Yeah.
You
Nice
do not take
try.
out the Genosians fast enough.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah. So Luminara and Barriss come up on Anakin and Ahsoka arguing, and Luminara's like, "Are you guys finished? We kind of have to do some business here." So Luminara breaks it down, basically gives the job of destroying the factory to the Padwans. Anakin protests, and Ahsoka just says, "Oh, don't worry, Master. Reliable Barriss will be here. Like, there's nothing we can do wrong."
That's some foreshadowing.
Oh yeah, foreshadowing for sure. And it's like, oh man. So Anakin and Luminara, they take the approach of like we will be the distraction while the Padawans go down. I love the shot of that we get of him charging in, and I think that was either from landing a point. I think it does it twice. There's two shots. One in landing a point rain where it shows him from a wide shot and the camera just follows him and Ahsoka.
Yeah, the winner.
I love that shot. That was great. And then there was another one in this one where him and Luminara are kind of just like making their way up to obviously the bridge. Anybody's thoughts on that little thing?
Yeah, there's a cool move that Luminara does where she grabs B1 and uses it as a shield and then pushes it into a group of droids, which is cool.
I love some of the techniques some of the Jedi use for offense, but also defense, and seeing them fight and using kind of like that kind of ingenuity that you were just mentioning, with them using a droid to attack and then shield and then push away. We see that a lot of the times. I'm thinking which episode they did that. I think it was on one of the Onderon arcs or one of the Onderon episodes where they. Or no, I think it was with one of the what are the droids called? The like the ones that command the armies. I think
commando. Command.
I think
Tactical
I think
droids.
Anakin did that one time where he just holds them in front and then just like stop shooting.
Yeah. Yep. He does that once. So the distraction.
Yeah, we've seen it many times.
Yeah, so the Padawans are able to get into the catacombs. They make their way through, so we get another shot. So we have Poggle and the command general, basically like the command general's like, "Come on, Lord Poggle, like let's use these tanks. Like we've got them. We're being attacked. We might as well," because they had been prototypes, and.
Super tank. Yeah.
Let me tell you, these tanks are insane. Like if they would have been able to mass produce those, they probably, like I said, they probably would have won the war because they just were insane in making weapons. AKA hence the Death Star, which was planned by the Geonosians at the beginning.
Rest in peace, Krennic. I'm kidding.
No. So the droid convinces Poggle to use the new tanks. Those, like I said, those things are menacing. They come out and Anakin just like, we gotta pull back. we're not gonna last here if we can't get through this. And it takes out their main turret guns. It takes out a couple of ATTEs, and they just go to town. Go to town. Anybody got anything to add on those tanks?
They're pretty deadly. Enough said.
I even think they said that they're ray shielded, which is another cool reference.
Yes.
To episode 3.
Ray shields.
We've done
We're
this
smarter
before.
than this.
We're smarter than this.
Apparently not.
So Anakin uses the idea to draw the tanks out on the bridge to destroy them. While the Padawans are going through the catacombs, Barriss gets a Geonosian's hand stuck on her.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did that Geonosian not just wake up right there and just like set off the alarm? But Ahsoka is able to help out with the arm. Barriss and Ahsoka make it. They get to a point where it's like, Barriss, do you really know where you're going?
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, I've looked over this like 1,000 times. And she's like,
it's left at the next junction. Oh,
Yeah,
wait, I mean, you go up at the next junction.
yeah.
Whoops.
Yeah. And I was just like, nice, Barriss. Reliable Barriss almost was unreliable there. So the Padawans get in there. then just on point, the Geonosian lets Poggle know, and they head to the main core. Why? I mean, that tank could have just. I don't like that whole scene was like very like weird to me for some reason. I was just like, I know you don't want to blow up the whole factory, but like I feel like those tanks could have at least run them over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The Separatists are not cruel like that.
Oh no.
Oh,
They
no.
gotta play by the rules.
Definitely not.
Oh
Yeah.
no, the Separatists are definitely not the cruelest of all.
They gotta follow Darth Palpatine or
You said, why did you say Darth
or
Palpatine?
Sheev
Yeah,
Sidious.
why did you?
Sheev Sidious. The
Oh,
alter
man.
egos are immaculate in the prequels.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, the Separatists are obviously just, doing their job. They're not just gonna just bulldoze over a bunch of forces of the Republic.
I guess not.
Probably one of the funniest parts in the episode to me during that sequence where they're at the reactor core is some Geonosians have come in and removed all their bombs off of the reactor, and somehow I think Ahsoka or Barriss gets them back, and Ahsoka throws a bomb onto the tank next to the tactical droid. He's like,
Oh,
ha. This tank, that won't do any damage to the tank, and then it blows up and kills them. I'm like, oh yeah, it didn't do damage to the tank, but you're dead, buddy. So
Yeah,
It did enough damage.
you missed the point. So they ultimately Poggle escapes. The droids and the other Geonosians are taken out or have escaped as well. And Barriss and Ahsoka are left with the tank. The entire factory. How are we going to do this? Well, we got a ray shielded tank. I think that'll do. So Ahsoka hails Anakin and she's like, there's only one way we can do this. We're going to do it. And Anakin tries to tell her that there's another way. And she blows up the factory with them being under a whole bunch of rubble. Anakin is frantically getting orders like, we got to move this rubble. Whereas, again, Luminara is very much like, if our Padawans are gone, I know I'm very confident and very like, I will miss her, but it's the way of the Force, like, and it's opposite of what Anakin's like. He's like, I know they're alive, I know it, I'm not giving up on them. And she says, it's not that I have given up Skywalker. I just know when the time comes, I will be able to let my apprentice go.
It's such a good line,
and it is
yeah.
a very good line. Go ahead, Aidan.
Oh no, I was just agreeing. Yeah, it's something that Anakin will never learn. He doesn't learn to let go, right?
Yeah, and that's a big reason why a lot of people like Anakin is because of how hard his attachment is with Ahsoka and Padme and all the people that he cares about. While the other Jedi, it's evident that you can see that. Right. How they're just, if it's time, it's time. It's kind of like It's kind of like Ivan Drago in Rocky IV. If he dies, he dies.
Right.
He dies.
Like, but Anakin's not like that, and a lot of people like Anakin because he really cares for those people.
Yeah.
That hold dear to him.
Yep. So Ahsoka uses the comm link, and she uses a little trick that Anakin taught her, and it comes up on his comm link, and he's able to use that to pinpoint where they're at. They get rescued. This is the beginning of the true friendship between Barriss and Ahsoka. And this also is the episode that shows, again, another characteristic of Anakin, like you guys were saying. He will put anything above anything. He'll put his friends above anything, even duty at some points.
Yeah.
So, this episode behind landing at Point Rain, is a great just continuation, and just the next two are just bangers as well. So like this whole arc just is, like I said, is just a banger for me.
Delving into some horror themes with these next two.
Mhm. Yep. Char, take it away.
All right.
Legacy of Cater.
Let's see if I can do this one better, because the last one was pretty good.
That was.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Where's your 3, 2, 1 countdown?
Ready.
3, 2, 1.
Victory on Genosis! After a massive planetary siege, the Separatist forces on Genosis have finally fallen. Key weapon factories have been destroyed, but at a heavy cost to Republic troops. Now, as Jedi Master Luminara Unduli and Obi-Wan Kenobi begin a cleanup on the planet, they launch an intense campaign to find Separatist leader Pago the Lesser and bring him to justice.
That was the best one yet. Best one yet. Best one yet.
No, don't clap. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Mr. I can't accept the compliment. Okay.
So we start off with Kyani Mundi looking at the orbital map of the planet, and Obi-Wan comes in and goes, "Ooh, Master Mundi, I didn't expect that you would be up. Like your scar's looking good." And he's like, looking at star charts helps him. I can't remember exactly, but his two-headed brain just like who.
It's a nice break from staring at the wall in a back to tank for like 10 years.
That's
or
what it
whatever.
was. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like Kyani Mundi. Why do you say the most cringiest stuff? It's just so tough. So we get that, and then we also have Luminara, who is obviously on the hunt for Poggle. In this episode, she's very, very headstrong in trying to catch Poggle, and it's all and it ends up being her downfall in this episode because she uses that force, and it really does hurt her in this episode. Anybody want to talk about that?
Well, I mean, I think there's the interaction where she's talking with Obi-Wan and he's like, "Oh, we're detecting a sandstorm on the scanner, so if you go out, we won't be able to come after you if something goes wrong." And she's like, "It's important to capture Poggle because of all the intel he'll have on the Separatist movement." So, of course, she goes out with Clone Trooper Buzz, who is a member of the 41st Elite Corps, and goes out and looks for Poggle. Probably against her. Probably not the best idea, but she thought it was necessary to do that, or there was a chance that they might lose the opportunity to capture Poggle.
Yeah.
The storm's coming, Annie.
Yeah,
Get
yeah.
inside.
Get home quick.
Yeah. That's what I thought when a storm's coming, Annie. I could hear it I could feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
Like,
I've already been through
okay.
enough sandstorms.
Yeah, like I think there's one part where he's like, "Why did we have to come to another desert planet?" And it's like, "Oh, so sand, it's rough, and of course you don't like it, huh? Is that what we're hearing? Is that what we're understanding?" So we get a look of the AAT, and Poggle's on top of it, and they have the droids going through the sandstorm, and I love like Char said, the B1 battle droid conversations.
Om
Are
5,
always
is that
good.
you?
Yeah,
Yes, Om 9. I think you're right next to me. Where are we going, Om 5? Om 5? Don't leave me.
yeah. They're made of lithium. They need lithium batteries.
Yeah.
Their resources are just not very good. And it's so funny because it's like in the Ryloth arc, they're like, we're superior to the other B1 battle droids. And I was like, what? No, you're not. You still need a power source to recharge.
I guess
the hell?
only in the fact that they're quote unquote individual thinkers and they're not hooked up to a
Yeah.
centralized computer.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
if everyone in the group is stupid and then you just get rid of the group, you still have a stupid person. So
This is true. This is true. So we obviously Luminara is hot on Poggle's tail
Yeah.
at this point. They get to the she gets to the shrine or the temple, right? It's called the
Crowgate Temple.
Purgate Temple. And we get the first look of the queen. And again, I wish we were talking about this on Halloween because it's like a spooky episode for sure. And she tries to hail Obi-Wan, and we get the typical like Jedi in trouble, like just like in episode 2 where Obi-Wan does the transmission and he gets attacked by the droids. This time she gets attacked by the Genosis.
Yeah.
Thoughts on that real quick?
Who talks first? You want to talk first? I talk first.
I don't really have anything to add, so you can go
No.
ahead, Hereth.
Again, it just kind of shows like how like stubborn Luminara is to get this mission done with Poggle the Lesser, that she's willing to do anything, and it again, like you said, it ultimately cost her in the end.
Yeah, it did. And it's just mind-boggling that she was able to get overturned, like outrun, and get captured by a bunch of Geonosians. It's just like, I know they're dangerous, and I shouldn't be saying that because I was like, they're so badass in the other episode, but like, come on, you're a Jedi.
I mean,
so obviously,
it's probably just she got overrun. You know.
yeah, that's
just
true.
Numbers, yeah.
So she obviously gets taken. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Rex and Cody go down, and they track her. They do have a tracker though. They find the tracker. They find her lightsaber in the temple.
Yeah.
And one detail, kind of like before they get there, it's like, as cool as the gunships are, they can't handle any kind of weather besides blue sky.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's so true.
Anakin's like, oh, the gunships can't handle a sandstorm, and then during the episode in season 1 with the Tulls, oh,
Yeah.
the gunships can't go out because of the snowstorm. Oh
Yeah.
no. You know, thankfully, at least they work in the rain because Camino is constantly raining. So thankfully, that doesn't affect the gunships. But any other type of weather besides rain and blue sky, might as well just sell them for scrap.
Yeah, might as well pack it in. So we get to the catacombs, right? And this is where the real spookiness starts.
This is where it hits the fan.
Yeah, it does hit the fan. And so they go through one of the catacombs, and all of a sudden they're getting attacked, and the clones are getting picked off left and right, and Obi-Wan and Anakin are being kind of surrounded, and Obi-Wan stabs one of the Geonosians in like the chest, and he's like, why aren't they dying? Why aren't they dying? And like they have to retreat a little bit to get where they ultimately find Luminara.
And I think like right before that scene, like Luminara is being drugged by the undead Geonosians, and you know, she manages to break free, and she's like, she gets a holo projector. She's like, "Don't follow me, you know, it's a trap and whatever." And she like, I think she full on kicks a Geonosian through the chest, like into the chest, and like it breaks because like it's an undead, you know, creature.
Yeah.
And you know, eventually she gets overpowered again, and then you know gets taken before the queen.
Yeah, that I did miss that too. I rewatched these recently, and I just like, there's just so much to put in. I feel like I miss a ton sometimes in these episodes. Char, what'd you think of that whole the undead Geonosians?
The zombie Geonosians are horrifying.
Yeah.
And obviously in the next episode we find out why and why that's happening.
Yeah.
But the Queen Geonosian. It's just how is she that big? How is she that big? And she's speaking English.
Yeah.
She's speaking.
When did
galactic
she
basic.
learn basic? What the hell?
Yeah, it's voiced by D. Bradley Baker himself.
Me not
Wait, what?
have one Jedi.
Yeah.
Me have two Jedi.
It's D. Bradley Baker.
Aiden did that perfectly.
We'll have two Jedi.
My mind becomes your mind.
That's
And
funny.
it's very apparent in this episode that they were heavily inspired by the Alien franchise.
Yeah.
Even the
Yes.
concept, while the worms still do work while the host is alive. The big thing with xenomorphs from the Alien franchise is that they only ever are born or are able to function after the host is dead. And even
Oh, yeah,
the
that's right.
concept of like the worm, going on the face and then through the nose is very
Uh-huh.
much similar to the face hugger. Even Karina the Great, the Queen of Geonosis, looks exactly like an alien queen,
Yeah.
a xenomorph from
That's
the
true.
Aliens franchise. So it's really
Yeah.
cool to see that they're heavily inspired by that. And one last cool fact, in the Lego Star Wars 3 level for this episode, one of, I think, the locations where a mini kit is you can build the loader that Ripley uses to fight the Queen Alien at the end of Aliens. It's kind of like this yellow mech. And I think it even shows up in a cutscene. So it's really cool to see that reference, and it adds to this eerie horror vibe, and I really enjoyed this episode
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I didn't
Jesus.
even realize that. So we have the back and forth between Anakin and Obi-Wan's trying to be a little bit too academic for everybody's
A little bit too much.
So, what do you think? Where do you think?
I
it'll
want to
go?
test it.
Yeah, I want to test it.
And that's actually, sorry to cut you off. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good, Aiden. No, go.
No, but that's actually, I think they might have also pulled that from the movie Aliens as well, because a big plot point of the movie is the fact that the company wants to take back a xenomorph specimen to study it and possibly weaponize it. So, and of course, Obi-Wan doesn't have those intentions, but the fact that he wants to take one and study it is definitely a callback to the reasoning for the company as to why they want xenomorphs in that film, which is cool to see.
Yeah.
Wow. Man,
A
I
lot of
didn't even
aliens
realize that.
references. I like it.
Yeah. So Obi-Wan asked Anakin, so what do you think it'll go through? The nose or the mouth? And the nose.
Anakin's like, I'd rather not know, but probably the nose.
Yeah. It's one of the best, or I would say one of the funniest moments of Anakin and Obi-Wan banter. I think this is some of the
Obi-Wan's like, oh yeah, I want to see how this plays out, and Anakin's like, I don't think Luminara wants to see how this plays out, and Luminara's like, I don't want to see how this plays out either.
Yeah.
And then as it's like about to,
It's so funny.
there's just some parts of Clone Wars where you're just like, yes,
Yeah. Absolutely.
like this is what we've been waiting for.
Also,
Not the scenario, but what happens with Anakin and Obi-Wan. Yes.
Yeah. Also, rest in peace to the two clones who got sent back to the surface to make contact with Kyani Mundi to call for backup.
Yep,
Rest
rip.
in peace, Gear Shift and unnamed clone number 537.
So they're able to capture Poggle by using light. That's the one weakness of the unresurrected aliens, which doesn't make sense in the next episode, and we'll get into that. They end up like just going insane. They capture Poggle. They're able to get out. The catacombs collapse. They all escape, and that's basically the end of the
Episode.
episode.
And like
Um,
the final part where the dust cloud pushes them out and like throws them into the air
Yeah.
really feels Indiana Jonesy. Like,
Yes.
in that way, where it's like
Yes, it does.
escaping the ruins and then this final action shot where they finally get out of the ruins, which I
For
thought was
sh-
also really cool.
For sure.
Like
Absolutely.
it kind of gave me Kingdom of the Crystal Skull vibes, where in that it was just water, but this time it's just the sand pushing them and moving the cover piece that led down to the catacombs, which was cool.
No, yeah, absolutely. Now to episode 8, the finale. Char?
Let's do this. Let's do this.
One last time.
No, but there'll be many more. Don't worry. Okay. Here we go. Brain Invaders. The plot summary begins in 3, 2, 1. Okay. All right.
Maybe.
Yeah, this is the right one. Okay. This is the right one. Okay. I was just making sure because the beginning of it is very similar to the last one.
Oh, yeah.
Because
That's
they
right.
both start with victory on Genosis.
Yeah.
So I was like, is this the right one? Okay, anyway. Victory on Genosis! After a massive assault, the Republic have finally recaptured the Separatist planet and shut down its droid factories of doom. An investigation by Luminara Unduli led to the discovery of Queen Karina the Great, whose hive mind could reanimate dead Geonosian soldiers. During the destruction of the Queen's Temple, the Jedi apprehended her advisor, Power the Lesser, and now prepare to deliver the villain to Coruscant for trial.
Good job. Good job.
Yay me.
All right. So we start off with them putting Poggle into the transport, and Kyani Mundi comes up and goes, "I've received a transmission from Master Windu. He needs our forces, like he needs help on Dantooine," which might be
Reference
a subtle nod to the 2003 micro series,
which is
because he did fight on Dantooine as well.
I think it's the first of 2 references to the micro series, because
Yes.
in the Siege of
Yes.
Mandalore,
Yeah, they talk
it's referenced
about
that Shakti was protecting the Chancellor, which happened in the micro series as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, Ahsoka and Barriss are tagged with getting medical supplies from the close. I can't remember what system it was. Anybody got that?
Ord Cestus?
Yes, Ord Cestus, and where Mr. Smiles himself, Kit Fisto, is.
Yeah, Kit Fisto.
While Anakin, Obi-Wan, Luminara, and Kyani Mundi all prepare to deliver Poggle to Coruscant. So then we cut from that conversation to a resting clone. Well, there is a brain invader right next to him. Like, where are they? Like, here's my thing. Like, are they just planted in places strategically, or is that just like just happen to be there?
Happen to be there.
They happen to be there, and it's kind of stupid on the clones too, because they were sleeping right outside the Progate Temple, with their helmets off, just kind of having their guard let down, right? Because they thought, oh, with the battle over and the Queen's supposedly dead, there's nothing really to worry about on Genosis anymore. So it's kind of interesting that they let their guard down so much in that instance.
Yeah. By the way, the worms just taking over the clones is freaky, kind of like Exorcist looking like.
Yeah, the one clone is like, "Welcome back to the land of the living," and then
yes,
Scythe who's the clone who's taken over is like,
"Yes,
thank you, sir." Just in a very monotone,
and like his eyes are rolling back into his skull,
without personality kind of way.
Yeah. So, Char, what'd you think of that first half of it?
I thought it was just really cool because when you see Ahsoka and Barriss kind of working together, but not knowing that the parasite is on board,
Mhm.
and then obviously the clones. It gave me Order 66 vibes a little bit when one of them
Yes.
Yeah.
got inside one of the clones, and then he's just like, and then they sense it. They're like, oh. And then you see the parasite and the wide eyes go back, and I'm like, whoa,
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
whoa.
yeah.
It-
But also
He's like, have these eggs, and they hatch, and it's like a little worm that comes out.
Yeah, he has
Yeah.
Scythe has a whole backpack full of them when he boards the transport, which
Yep.
I don't know
Where did
where
he
he
get
found that
them?
many. Yeah, I don't know where he
He
found
just had a
those.
batch of them.
It's like having a
bad
cooler
batch of
full
them.
of dead meat.
Yeah. So Barriss and Ahsoka are on the transport, and they all are like, I can't sleep. It's just not like after
It's
going
too
through a whole bunch
quiet.
of it's too quiet. So then they go to eat, and then two clones show up and they throw blasters. Now, like, here's the thing. Did the worms activate the chip in some way?
I don't
Or
think
do you
so.
think it was just the
I
instinct of the worm to kill the Jedi to take over the ship?
I think it was just the worm that caused them to do that. I don't think it activated the chip in any way because
Gotcha.
if that did happen and if the Jedi had dug a little deeper after the whole situation was resolved, they probably could have found the inhibitor chip if this situation went a different kind of way where
Yeah.
the clones still had the worms in their head, because they would be looking deeper and try to find a way to get them out. So it was for Palpatine's grand plan, for the Revenge of the Sith. It came,
Yeah.
kind of close,
He dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
kind of close.
Yeah. And I mean, when they're eating, Barriss and Ahsoka talk about how the Jedi are going to exist after the war.
Mhm.
And
And Ahsoka goes, I don't know how it will help my master. And it's like, ha, kid, you have no idea.
yeah, she's like, I don't know how peacetime will sit with Anakin.
Yeah.
And I think a bit of the Vader theme plays in that moment.
It does a little bit.
We hear it twice in the episode.
Yep.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, we do.
Especially during an upcoming sequence.
Yeah. So I really think that this might be the beginning of where Barriss starts to start to think of how she does in season 5.
Yeah.
Because she's like, we're keepers of the peace, not soldiers, like Master Windu has said. And it's just after they get attacked, we get another shot of Anakin and all of them, and they're like, the frigate hasn't checked in. That's not normal. That's not like them. And then Anakin is telling Rex, hey, keep an eye out.
Yeah.
And I can't remember if it's in that next scene where we cut back to Ahsoka and Barriss, or is it to him and Poggle?
I think
No,
Anakin and Poggle.
I think it cuts back to the frigate because Ahsoka and Barriss, I think, are heading to the bridge.
The bridge.
They're heading to
Yes,
the bridge
right.
with I forgot the clone's name, but and here's another scary thing about the parasite. It can make it seem like the host is not actually being controlled. Where, in that moment where those two clones come in, it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa, whoa, whoa. Why'd you draw your lightsabers? And then at the right moment where it's a good opportunity for the parasite to strike, it drops that persona of making it seem like the person is still the person, which is, and they didn't even sense that which is kind of scary.
Yeah.
And kind of building on that point, it could have been really scary if Palpatine had found out about these parasites and kind of maybe implemented them into his plan somehow, because from what it seems like, if you don't know someone's infected, not even a Jedi can sense that you're infected with a parasite.
Yeah. And seeing, like Char said earlier, like seeing all of the clones get like infected is just weird because they start clicking and clacking like Geonosians.
They start speaking Geonosian.
Just strange, just real weird.
Not normal. Not
normal. So as Ahsoka and Barriss are trying to make it to the bridge, they get cut off. They have to go into one of the main brigs, and that's where we see one of the clones getting taken over. So Ahsoka and Barriss make it to a shaft. They drop down into, I can't remember which part of the ship, but they land. And then Barriss gets taken over at that point, correct?
Yeah, so Ahsoka goes to the aft communication room, and then Barriss is trying to go and shut down the thrusters in the hyperdrive, I think.
Yes.
And then there's that creepy moment where the clones are like, if it's one thing we clones know, it's how to deal with a Jedi.
Which made me think that the chip. That's what made me think the chip at that moment.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I think maybe the parasite slightly influenced their thinking.
The chip?
The chip, maybe.
Okay.
It would be interesting to hear, like, if someone had ever asked the production team on Clone Wars whether or not that was the case. I think that would be a cool question to ask.
Good question to ask at Celebration this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be.
Or we could just tweet Matt Martin on Twitter.
This is true. Or Pablo Hidalgo.
Well, Pablo Hidalgo is taking a break because toxic Star Wars fans, but besides the point.
Oh yeah. So Anakin is so back to the other ship. Anakin tells the clones to leave him and Poggle.
Oh, Return of the Jedi Vader moment.
Yes.
Leave us.
Yes. And he just goes all Vader. Anakin is Vader, and I will not hear anything of it. They are not two separate people.
We'll talk about that later.
The translator droid's like, "Oh, your Jedi mind tricks won't work on me, Jedi." And Anakin's like, "Mind tricks?" And then just slaps him with his robotic arm across the wall. It's like, oh boy, Anakin is feeding his darker tendencies in this moment.
Yeah. And at that moment, like you hear the da 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 da. You hear like it very slowly. Yeah, you hear Vader's theme, and I was like, okay, that was that scene was like pure Vader, and it was just crazy. Char, got anything to add on that?
No, I mean, this episode is it's great. It's one of my most memorable episodes in Clone Wars. Not even just the worms and the horror it brings to the table of Star Wars, because there's a lot of terrible things, but this is a kid's show with worms infecting and controlling you.
Yep.
But Anakin he's just
choking out.
Yeah.
He's something else in this episode, man.
Yeah.
They're like, "How did you interrogate Poggle?" And he's like, "Doesn't matter. I have the information." Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, going back to the Ahsoka and Barriss stuff, I just thought of something I didn't think about before. I don't know why I didn't click in my mind about this. So I think Ahsoka used this opportunity of like the clones hunting her down for when the Siege of Mandalore happened and Order 66 goes down. She uses this as like a learning opportunity. She's like, oh, because she's already dealt with the clones hunting her before.
That's true. That
like
could definitely
two different occasions.
That could definitely be interpreted that way. That's really interesting. So Anakin gets a hold of Ahsoka. He guides her, encourages her. He's like, you gotta get to the main, you gotta get to the bridge they don't do well in cold weather. And
Mhm.
go ahead.
And this is a slight reference to the Alien franchise, but it's actually the opposite. So with the Brain Invaders, they hate the cold, but with the Xenomorphs, they don't like flame. They don't like fire. They don't like.
Oh, okay.
So it's like polar opposite. So it's like okay.
Well, yeah, you don't want to melt Barris.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, you don't.
So it's either one or the other.
Yeah.
The story group was probably like, well, we've taken so much inspiration from the Alien franchise, but you know what? Having Barris get, burnt alive probably isn't the best move for our children's program.
Yeah.
So you know
Yeah.
what? Cold. It's cold that affects them. So
Yeah.
just a cool thing to think
It's
about.
very chilling.
So the
Nice
fight
to
between
meet you.
Ah.
So the fight in Ahsoka is very much like a very wholesome and very like you see the stakes. Like you don't know anything about Barris, and you don't necessarily know what's going to happen to Ahsoka at that time. So the stakes are very high at this point because you don't, especially throughout this episode, because like, are they going to die? Are they going to make it through? Like that's one point. Like exactly what's going to happen to Obi-Wan, Anakin, and most of the Jedi. You don't know what's going to happen to Ahsoka. I mean, you at the beginning you were like, oh well, she can't make it out because it's Order 66, but you don't know how, you don't know when. Like it's like this episode like made the stakes so much higher than anything else.
Especially, like having on average a younger viewing audience for the show.
Yeah.
The shot where, the Brain Invaders coming out of Barris's mouth
Yeah.
and Ahsoka slashes and then it cuts away. Like
Yes.
when you're a younger kid, right? The thing I would say most of the time you would cut to is like, oh, she just killed her. But as you grow up, right? You're like,
Yeah.
oh, you know what? She probably just cut the worm. But it even adds to the tension
Yes.
based on how you interpret things in real life, which I think boosted the stakes of this episode because on average younger viewing audience. But now having grown up and having different ways of looking at stuff,
Yeah.
it's like it's apparent like, okay, she's not going to kill her, right? But it's it's interesting how they play into that sort of storytelling tool.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
throughout
and
the
Barris
world.
was her best friend.
Yeah.
It's not like she had a easy choice with how she was going to handle this conflict.
Right.
Yeah.
And if she had to kill her, then so be it. But she managed to figure it out and save her in the process,
Yeah.
which I thought which I thought was very cool to see her manage to keep her alive, but
Yeah.
defeat the parasite at the same
brain.
time.
Yeah. Also, the other tension is the ship. They got to slow the ship down, so they make it to the medical bay, and Kit Fisto's like, "We gotta slow that transport down. It's coming in too hot."
Send out the space tugs.
Yeah, yeah,
Activate
they just-
tractor beams.
yeah. And like even that was also full of tension because I mean, if they go in too fast, they're gonna blow up the whole medical bay, which has thousands upon thousands of clones and medical staff and everything, and they're able to stop it. But the best part is when Kit Fisto walks into the bridge, he is still has the goofiest fucking smile on his face. Just like, you done good, Ahsoka.
We'll take it from here. Yeah.
Kit Fisto's smile has been a thing for a long time.
Yeah.
When Kit Fisto force pushes C-3PO on Genosis,
Yes.
The only time he doesn't smile is when he's facing Palpatine.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Ahsoka
which
wakes up.
may I add, Ahsoka she could have killed Barris for the betterment of the Clone Wars as it goes
Yeah,
on.
she could have.
But
Yeah.
Hindsight's 2020.
Yeah. So Anakin, when Ahsoka wakes up, Anakin encourages her and guides her. Like, it's a good moment between her and him and Ahsoka. And he goes, you know what, you did the right thing. You trusted your instincts. You made the right decision in that situation. And there's always another option in any situation that you are in. And that's definitely a good point for life, because not every situation is going to be the same.
Isn't the through line for this episode like attachment isn't compassion or something like that? Or it's like compassion isn't attachment or something like that?
I think
Yeah.
so.
Well,
But-
allow me, because it's attachment
loves
is
that
not
stuff.
compassion.
There you go.
There you go.
So
Yeah, I
it's
thought it was
attachment,
something along those
attachment is
lines.
not compassion. So yeah, that, I mean, it's a good saying. But
Which I think it was just like a clarification thing to what Anakin said in episode 2. Attachment
Yeah.
is forbidden. Possession is forbidden.
compassion.
Compassion, which is
Compassion.
like, it's a way for
Oh,
we are
God.
encouraged to love.
Oh my
So
God!
I think
please.
that
That's
moral
stop.
quote
We
was to just justify what Anakin said, but it allowed it to give reason to it in the episode.
we are encouraged to love.
Oh,
You've changed so much.
oh,
I don't want to
Jesus.
see the
All
next
right.
line.
All right. We're done with the episode 2 dialogue.
Good. Look what I have just made.
So that is the end of the Genosis arc. Wow, that was
That was
That's
the
a
That was a rough
lot.
ride. 5 episodes, man. That was bumpy.
5.
Very, very bumpy.
So quickly, rankings. Aidan, since you are this is your first ever episode being on, what would you rank this arc?
easy Jedi Master. This is one of the best arcs in season 2. This is one of the best arcs that is in the earlier seasons of the show, and so it's one of the longest arcs in the Clone Wars itself too,
Yes.
which is really crazy to think about. And it's really good. Like, you get different aspects. You get like political espionage in the first episode, then you get a full-on planetary assault in the next 2, and then you get horror aspects in the last 2, and it all just makes this really cool story. And it's, while some might argue, it's not really creative that they just went back to Geonosis for a second time, I would argue differently, because Palpatine is a schemer, and he's constantly creating problems for the Jedi and the Republic to have to deal with, and that goes the same thing for the Separatists. So it makes sense that he would make Geonosis a threat again, something to deviate the Jedi's attention, right?
And then,
Jedi
obviously,
Master.
Sorry, I was gonna build off your
Gareth?
point. I would probably say the same thing as Aiden, Jedi Master. I would put it at Grandmaster, but I think early seasons it's definitely Grandmaster. But I think if I had to rank the overall series, I would go Jedi Master.
Char?
This is right when Aiden said it was a Jedi Master, I immediately concurred with him. This is a very, very high Jedi Master
Mhm.
Yeah,
arc, in my opinion.
I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, this isn't a borderline Knight Master. This is a solidified Jedi Master arc, in my opinion.
Well, I think it's really close to a Grandmaster.
It's very close. Is that where
It-
you put it, or is it a
Very-
master for you?
No, it's a master for me. It's
Okay.
really close. It's one of my favorite arcs in the entire series. I really enjoyed the planetary stuff.
Yeah, and
the
it builds
Force
so
of
much on the
Aquarius.
characters.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it builds on Luminara, who hadn't really had a whole bunch of screen time.
Yeah, the only time before that she's had screen time, I think, was when she went to go face Asajj Ventress.
Yeah,
And I think even before the Clone Wars, she didn't have any speaking
Nope.
lines in the movie.
same with Kyani Mundi. I mean,
Yeah.
the droid attack on the Wookiees, and then him dying. That's it.
But this made us hate him even more. So
Yeah.
I don't think it worked the way they were intending.
yeah. But chat, sorry, the chat's not working tonight. It's just weird. We haven't been able to get everybody's things. So let us know in the comments in the replay or whatever. Let us know what you guys thought of the Geonosis arc. Quickly, Star Wars news. All right, I'm gonna pull up the article. We're gonna talk. I think we're just going to talk Disney Plus Day.
Okay.
No
Boba for Char. I'm sorry, Char. No Boba for
No.
you.
If you wanna talk, so Boba, if you wanna go look at our reactions, both They Fly Now and our reaction is up on both of our respective YouTube channels. Go check them out. They're really well done. If you want to see Char literally lose his mind, go ahead. So this came out actually today, or was this yesterday? It was yesterday. So there's a rumor going around.
Did it come out at 11:59? If it did, I'll give you some slack.
No, it came out yesterday.
Okay.
So according to Star Wars News Net, which is the only place where I get my Star Wars news, my breaking news, it's what I use to. It's a reliable source. They are rumoring that Obi-Wan Kenobi footage is possible, and with Andor. They're saying for Disney Plus Day, which is on Friday, November 12th, we will be getting our first look at Kenobi and our first look at Andor.
Yeah.
Now, everybody here, what are your thoughts on this Disney Plus Day? Like, what are we getting in your guys' opinion? And let's start with Aidan.
I think I might have an opinion that's in the minority. I don't think we're gonna get anything related to Kenobi because I think that would just break the internet. I definitely think we're gonna get possibly a Andor teaser / trailer because that series has wrapped filming and whatnot. So we might get something for Kenobi, but I'm definitely leaning more towards something for Andor as a certainty for Disney Plus Day.
Okay. Hereth?
I'm in complete agreement with Aiden. I think at the most we'll get for Kenobi is a sizzle reel. Andor is for sure. I'm betting a teaser because there's rumors that are like, oh, Andor is gonna have a sizzle reel. But I'm like, that's not possible because Andor already had a sizzle reel. It was released last year. So why would they do another sizzle reel? It's gonna be a teaser. So I think I think Kenobi sizzle reel, Andor teaser, then some casting news for Ahsoka.
Char?
I think a sizzle reel for Obi-Wan Kenobi is most likely to happen. I really don't think we're gonna get a teaser. I really don't think so because if it's coming out in May, we got a good 6-month gap before we even, because think about it, Book of Boba Fett, we got the trailer almost 2 months prior to the episode releasing.
Yeah,
and that was the teaser.
They don't show
So the
that.
odds of us getting a teaser for Kenobi 6 months in advance, that's like stuff you would see for movies.
Well, that's what they did for Mando.
No, they didn't. Mando was 2 months. It was 3 months actually. Yeah, it was 3 months before the show came out.
Not Mando season 1. Mando season 1 came out 6 months before the first episode dropped.
No, they showed a trailer at Celebration, and then that was it. And then they did a trailer 3 months before the show came out, and then they did another trailer about a month before when they released it.
Well, that alone, maybe.
I'm gonna disagree with all of you.
Okay, well, do you disagree with Build a Boba?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
And he's
all
very, very cute, and that's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah, damn right
I think we get a teaser trailer. I think it's very similar to Boba. It's not going to show a ton. We'll get a release date, official release date. We'll get Andor teaser as well. I think we're getting teasers. We are getting into the thick of Star Wars content. Into the thick of it. So I think we're getting a teaser trailer for Kenobi, Andor. We'll get a behind the scenes of Boba Fett, possibly another trailer. I don't know. And I think we're going to get a Pedro Pascal in Mando, like getting him like talking like, oh, we've started filming, blah blah blah. But you also have to remember Disney D23 is going to be a week later.
Oh,
And I think a lot of your movie news,
Yeah.
Watiti's announcement, are we ever going to get to
Maybe
hear about
we'll
Ryan Johnson's
probably hear
stuff?
something about the Acolyte, Rogue Squadron,
Acolyte.
Rangers of the New Republic, if it's going to be
There's
still
so
in.
much coming in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I am going to officially announce it here. We are having a crossover episode on Friday, November 12th for Disney Day. We are doing a entire stream of Disney Plus Day, and we will be having guests periodically come in and out. It'll be mostly me, my co-host Char, Hereth, and Car2D2 doing reactions and just watching Disney Plus Day. So if you guys want to join, hit me up on Discord. We
possible
can get
cameo by
something.
Aidan.
There you
Possible
go.
cameo.
There you go. I will whoever's in the stream when the Kenobi trailer drops, I mean, you're going to be lucky because you're going to get my greatest reaction. But that is going to happen. We will release more details when we know more. I don't really know if it's an all-day thing or if it's only like a 4-hour thing, but we'll keep you updated.
I'm pretty sure it's noon PST to 4 PST, so it's probably. I think that's would be my guess.
Okay.
Well, for the Star Wars section, how long do you think it would be? Like what?
30 minutes.
30
30
minutes.
minutes.
Give or
Okay.
take.
But I mean, we're gonna stream the entire thing, right? Or are we just
Yeah.
doing Star Wars?
I'm down to stream the entire thing.
You think
Yeah.
they'll do what they
I
do with
don't-
the Investor Day and just have it towards the end of the
Yeah,
stream?
so that would be my guess. It would be Marvel and Star Wars they put right at the very end.
Mhm.
Yeah. We'll have to see because it's like I have no clue if they're going to be having us wait to the very end of the stream to reveal the Star Wars content,
Yeah.
or they're going to show sneak peeks for, Pixar and
They probably will.
Disney stuff they're going to do.
It's going to go like
Probably.
Disney live action, Pixar, Disney animation, Marvel, and then Star Wars at the very end. Would be my guess how they would do
I
it.
could see that.
If that's true, then it's like, Luke, do you want to like go from all the way from start to finish? Because like it's pretty long.
I'm here for the journey.
It's like
I mean,
it's-
we could start. Well, I need to know. I need to figure out when. I would start it with from Marvel. I
Okay.
don't really care about everything else. Marvel and Star Wars, I'd be willing to do like 2 hours or whatever it is. So we'll have more details for you guys then. Thank you everybody for coming and joining the chat. Everything, Aidan. We'll start with you. Where can the good people follow you on social media? Find your content.
Well, you can follow me at Aidan Talk Star Wars Topics on TikTok, and you can also find me on YouTube at that exact same name. And I also have an Instagram at the ATST show, but I don't post there as much.
We're gonna get him to make some content, more content.
that's the plan.
So good. It is so good. Hereth, where can the good people find you as always?
Again, Hereth Productions on TikTok, and if you go look at the ticker, you can see it's gonna pop up in like 3 seconds. They Fly Now show on YouTube. It's hosted by me and Car2D2 every Monday at 5 p.m. PST. This week we'll be talking about Kylo Ren, and I cannot wait to dive into that.
Char?
Oh, hi.
Co-host?
You can find me on the Podwans podcast, and you can find me on TikTok at CharCharJay, as seen right here. Yeah.
All right. You guys can follow the Podwans podcast at the Podwans podcast at Podwans on Twitter and at the Podwans Pod on Instagram. Again, guys, thank you. I appreciate you all. We will see you next Thursday and Friday. It's going to be a hectic week. Keep your eyes open. No eternal spoilers, please. I'm heading into the theater in about 20 minutes. Don't be a dick.
Is that right?
Don't be a dick.
I can't believe Darth Vader shows up.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah,
Don't
when
spoil
did
things.
Stewie become an Eternal?
I know, right?
But may the force be with you guys.
Always. See you guys. Thank you guys for
everyone.
watching.